Well, I am Melinda Thompson, and I'm the founder and CEO of Working Technology. It'll be working because we fixed it. My daughter actually came up with that logo 8 years ago when I started my business, and the name of the company actually too. I was racking my brain trying to figure out what in the heck am I going to call my computer company. Everything related to computers. She goes, Mom, it's easy. Working Technology. It'll be working because you fixed it. So it's stuck. And I wanted to hire her as my intern, but she has no interest in information technology, which is why she's in the healthcare strand. So, anyway, I was born in 1972, raised in Ferguson, Missouri, and I'm going to show you some of the technology that came out the year I was born. So we're going to take a little trip back in time, back to 1972. So in 1972, Intel introduced the 8008 processor. The first public demo of ARPANET, which was kind of the beginning of the internet, was demoed in 1972. The compact disc was invented in 1972. And
You guys know what a compact disc is?
Yes. And Atari released Pong, which was the first commercial video game back in November of 72. So fast forward to high school, I went to McClure, class of 1990. I always kind of thought that I wanted to be a teacher most of my life, but by the time I was a senior, I really had no idea. So guidance counselor said, take the ASVAB and see what you might be good at. I did, and the next thing I knew, recruiters were suggesting that I enter the military, and specifically the Marines, and they said, you'd be good at this. And I said, okay. So I signed up, and straight out of high school, I went to the United States Marine Corps to become an air traffic control communications technician. So by 1990, the technology that was hot that year, HTML, heard of it? Microsoft released Windows version 3.
Nice, 16-bit.
The World, which was the first commercial internet dial-up access provider, came online. So that was what was going on in the tech world when I was around you guys' age. So went through 13 weeks of boot camp where I rappelled off of cliffs and crawled through the mud and learned how to shoot a rifle and all kinds of fun stuff. After that, I left Paris Island and went to my MOS training at Millington, Tennessee. MOS is what they call your military occupational career training. And as you can see, I was the only woman in my class, so I'm pretty proud of that. And the technology that we were troubleshooting, it was a little outdated, but that's what it was. So that's what I learned on back in the day. After graduating there, then I finished out my enlistment in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, which brings us to 1994, beginning of Bluetooth. IBM released the first smartphone, and they started doing online banking and online shopping. So we were really, making some progress back then. Technology was changing pretty quick back then, as it is now, but it was a lot different because everything was new. Like, it was never done before. So, but I didn't realize how cool that was because I never knew I was going to be in IT. Never planned it. So, segue into my civilian IT career. Transitioning from military life to civilian life is really difficult. Like, it's a completely different world. So I took a job as a receptionist because I really still didn't know where I was going at that time. The company I worked for had a service manager who saw my military training and said, I think you might be able to do a little bit more than answer phones. So they sent me to a 2-week course where they opened up a computer, showed me all the components inside, told me what could possibly go wrong with them, and then I was off to service my first contract, which happened to be at Boeing, which back then was McDonnell Douglas. So I was doing break fix hardware repair. When that contract ended, then I started kind of hopping around from job to job, mostly corporate jobs like Anheuser-Busch, Southwestern Bell, large corporations, doing whatever they needed, help desk here, little project here, and my pay increased exponentially, and so did my experience. I was getting a lot of diverse skills really quickly, so that was an awesome part of my career. Then I landed at Ameren UE, and after about 3 months, they hired me on as a full-time employee. Started paying for my college, and they were giving me 401k and full matching, and so that was great too, but I got burned out because I like to work hard and I enjoyed what I did, so they took full advantage of that and worked me nights and weekends, and I was willing to work as much as they wanted me to, so I burned out pretty quick. And then I quit that job and went and sold used cars for about a year and a half. So complete opposite end of the spectrum. So after being out of IT for about a year and a half, as you can imagine, it was like I knew nothing, so I had to start all over again, back down to a break-fix hardware technician at the first job that I got after I went back into IT. But I stayed with that company for 7 years, and I became the service manager and had 4 technicians under me. So I was going to take over the company, but it turned out I started my own. So working technology, that's how it came about. So from receptionist to computer technician to outsourced technical support to corporate burnout, starting over again, and then on to bigger and better things. So the vision, values, and mission for my company, I partner with leading technology providers like Microsoft, Dell, HP, all the big players, so that I can have a direct line when my customers need support from me, right? It helps me support them better to have those partnerships with those industry leading companies. And so the way that a lot of service companies work is they just provide a service, and they provide the same service to every client, and that really doesn't work. You can't use a cookie cutter for every client because all of their needs are different. Their goals are different, their objectives are different. So my goal was to take a look at how the company runs and figure out how can I help them align those objectives with the technology, hopefully that they already own, but if not, then make the right recommendations to help their business meet those objectives and grow and sustain that growth. So I do that with these values. I listen when they talk to me. I sit down and I have a consultation with them just about their business. It has nothing to do with what I provide for them. I just want to know, how does your day-to-day operations go? What do you do? What does this department do? How do they interact? Just so I can start to get an understanding of how they're going to use the technology in the company, and if they're using what they have properly. Then I educate them. Once we decide what they're going to use, I make sure that they know how to manage those tools for themselves, so they don't feel like they're locked into using me. And that seems to work out really great. You wouldn't think it would, but it does, because they're not locked into me. They know how to manage their skills. They know I'm a trusted resource, so they're going to continue to come to me when they have problems, and they always have problems. So I advise them. I'm not obligated or linked to any specific vendor, and that's the only vendor I recommend. I look at all of the options in every case for all of my clients once I learn about their business. So sometimes I might use Microsoft 365, sometimes I might use Google Workspace, just depends on the client. And then we work together to develop, design, and implement those systems that we've just come up with. So, some of the, I counted them a couple weeks ago. I have over 50 industry certifications. I've been in IT for 25 years, which is a really long time, it seems like, but I keep learning new things all the time, so that the information I have and can share with them is relevant and current. And then some of the partnerships I was talking about, like Microsoft and Spectrum, you develop these strategic partnerships so that it's easier for your clients to get services. And again, it's easier for me to get support when they have problems with any of those services. So one of the top ones that I mentioned in the last class that Don wanted me to expand on was TIA. And on the technical side, they have a lot of certifications that are part of job requirements, like A+ certification is like the minimum standard IT certification that people get, okay? A lot of times that's a requirement for IT positions. And then on the business side, when I started my company, I wanted to show people that I was committed to making sure that their data was protected and safe. So I went after the Managed Services Trust Mark through CompTIA. So you have to meet all these rigorous standards, like you have to put it, and it's just me. I am working technology. I don't have any employees or anything like that, but I have like 35 clients. So I'm pretty busy all the time. And so I put together a whole plan for my business and met all these requirements, and I got that. That was my first achievement as a business, so I'm pretty proud of that one. They're a vendor neutral resource. They're not like me, they're not linked to any specific vendors. That's why all of their training and certifications are about best practices and industry standards versus a specific product or service out there, which is great because a lot of people look to that when they're trying to, go after a new service provider or something like that. They're like, what is everybody doing? Well, you want to be doing what they're telling everybody is doing, right? So that's a good strategic alignment with them. So these are some of the products and services that I offer my clients. Pretty much anything that a small to medium business needs to get online and connected to the internet, to the cloud, whatever, I can provide for them. Where I get the most enjoyment is from the virtual CIO consulting and the project management. The virtual CIO, I get to be in an executive level position. While not permanent, but I get to participate in strategic planning and developing key performance indicators that really help these businesses grow. And how are they going to sustain that growth? So I really like that a lot. And then the project management too, bringing resources and needs together and meeting that timeline, it's a great sense of accomplishment for me. So I've done a few websites here and there, like I did mine. I just finished one up for a nonprofit last week that has their ribbon cutting tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I do security awareness training. That's another one of my favorites because I'm going to show a video. You can make it fun. Embrace your geek is what I always say. Now the video that I played in the first session didn't go over well, so I'm going to skip ahead to a different one.
You know what? If you have time to
Play
go
it.
like
Okay. I laugh every time, and I've seen it 100 times.
As I walk through the airport and I'm trying to connect, I take a look at my signal and realize nothing's left with an hour to kill. That won't work for me, but then I see a sign that says that the Wi-Fi is free. I ain't never crossed a number that I can't connect with. I just asked for the password and I'm on in a second. Facebook and Twitter and shop on Amazon. I enter the same password each time that I'm around. As I'm out here playing in the cyber traffic. Other hackers sniffing my unencrypted packets. I opened up my bank app and go to log in. I got no money left. Should have used a VPN. Look at the situation that I be facing. Can't live a normal life with the bad guys that chase me. They send me messages, fish after fish, too many fake emails, and they got me in anguish. I'm a cyber savvy fool with safety in my mind, but sometimes I get fooled to the tricks that I'm blind. You better know where you're browsing and how you're talking, or you and your passwords will be lined and shown. Getting hacked off the bat is just a click away. So listen to me and give exactly what I say. Think before you click and when it down delete. And when surfing public Wi-Fi, always be discreet.
So you see what that says? One employee's Facebook account got hacked and brought a full company down. It happens all the time. The weakest link. So what that is trying to get across is that no matter how many firewalls, VPNs, security policies, all of that stuff that I implement or put in, it doesn't matter if one user at that company clicks on one bad link, right? So the users are the most important component when it comes to cybersecurity from what I do in the IT industry. So I come up with fun ways to make sure that they're paying attention. And they're a little older than you guys, so they probably enjoy that one a little bit more. But okay, so fact or myth? You have to be good at math or science to succeed in information technology. Fact? Who says fact? Who says myth? Everybody? Right. Yeah. And why is that? Because some of the soft skills that you guys have are just as important as the technical skills. So, fact or myth? If you don't have technical skills, you won't be able to break into a career in IT. Myth? You guys are good. You're absolutely right. It's the same reason, because you can get technical skills in a training class or a certification class. You can go and learn how to use a specific piece of software or how to fix a specific piece of hardware. But the soft skills are either there or they're not. They're really hard to learn, and they're just as important, like I said. So some of the skills that I found the most useful, integrity. We, as IT people, get access to a lot of data with confidential information, and integrity is extremely important in this position. Communication, not only do you have to be able to talk to your supervisors and peers, but you also have to be able to present technical information in a non-technical way to end users and department leaders and things like that. Flexibility. IT is moving fast. You gotta go with the flow. You could be spending 3 months on a project, new piece of software or hardware comes out, the company changes direction, you gotta get your mind off of it, get over it, and move on to the next thing, or you'll be left behind. IT doesn't wait for you. It's gonna keep changing and moving. And that's kind of the thing I like about it. That keeps me interested, because it's a new day every day. Like, I rarely have the same day twice. It's pretty cool. Initiative. You're being relied on to be the trusted resource for people that you serve, whether it's one company, your own company, or a bunch of companies like me. So you have to take the initiative to make sure that you have the most recent training and knowledge about the things, whatever it is that you do, that it's the most current technology. Don't get stuck in, this has been working for me for a long time, this is what I always recommend, this is great, because you never know what you're missing out on. So take the initiative to get out there and learn new things, and you never know what comes of it. Be resourceful. I try and get my clients to the point where I am their IT resource. So they don't even ask, do you handle this? They just come to me and say, can you handle this, right? They don't know if I do this little piece right here, but I want them to come to me, because if I can't do it, I want to know how I can help them get it done, right? I want to help them manage that relationship if it has to be a new vendor, or make sure that they have the right tools to implement or use, or whatever it is that comes out of that. And always keep your contacts. Like, I've never not kept a business card. I almost brought that with me too. I have a whole book of every business card I've gotten since I started in IT. And I haven't had to call people a lot, but you just never know. You never want to burn bridges in IT, because a lot of times you'll run back into people in some way, shape, or form. IT people switch jobs frequently, as did I when I was first starting out. You have to have perseverance. IT problems aren't always solved with one component and one answer. A lot of times there's multiple levels and even multiple devices, sometimes multiple locations. So you have to keep at it until you're able to, track down whatever the issue is, and make sure that that's the only issue, that there's not an underlying something somewhere else that it's going to pop up back, again, after you told the client, yeah, I fixed it, it's all done. And then a week later, they've got the same issue. So you gotta be thorough too. And analytical, you need to get used to looking at things in different ways. Just like I said about, you can't keep looking at the same product and say, yeah, this has always worked, it works every time. You gotta look at things differently in a bigger picture. You have to be organized, because with as fast as IT moves and changes, you can drop the ball on things if you're not. You get a call and you've got an outage somewhere, you had a list of 10 things to do that day. If you don't keep track of that stuff, you get distracted and you end up spending 4 hours that you meant to be doing these other tasks. You got to get back to those tasks at some point, but now you're on to the next day where you already had another list of tasks for that day, so you got to make sure that you keep on top of that stuff. And you got to have an interest in helping others to be in IT, at least from what I do. So, otherwise I'd be a programmer or something, just sitting at the computer all the time. But not that there's anything wrong with that. If you don't like helping people, then what I do is probably not for you. Okay, so tools of the trade. Just like there's hard and soft skills that you have to have, there are tangible and non-tangible tools that are used in information technology, and you need to know about them and be aware of how to use them both. Like cloud services, that's not really tangible. You can't put your hand on it. It's hard to explain it sometimes to people that are non-technical. But then, you know, you've got your tangible tools like my multimeter and my screwdriver and things like that. So just be aware of all the tools that are out there and available for you and how to use them. So speaking of tools of the trade, I think I'm going to start with the RF signal thing this time. So in cybersecurity, one of the things that you can do is look for unauthorized wireless devices with an RF signal detector. So you can also use this and be a spy and find hidden cameras and all that sort of cool stuff. But we're just going to do a couple tests here and see what happens with the different types of bands of RF signals. So, GSM frequency, those are signals that are used for wireless mobile. UHF is kind of in the middle. It's a big, broad range that all different kinds of devices, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, smart home devices. And then there's the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi that our computers connect up to. So all of those different bands have different strengths. So I've got a hotspot up here. We're going to see what happens when I turn my hotspot on and connect to it. This thing can do all sorts of other cool stuff too, but we're not going to get into that today. So we turn it on till it beeps annoyingly. Let it beep for a long time because it's checking out everything in its range right now and figuring out what's what, okay? Let that go for a minute, and then we're going to turn it down a little bit just till we got 1 or 2 solid bars all the time, and then we'll see. Let's see how it reacts to that stuff. Now, last class I was told that the Wi-Fi signals in here aren't that great, so I'm going to put it a little closer this time. I'm going to turn my hotspot on now. Did you just turn your Wi-Fi off? Oh. Did somebody just turn their Wi-Fi off?
Mine is
It's
off.
going crazy now. So my hotspot is trying to connect to the service provider right now. And now it's connected. Let's see if we can get it to act crazy again. I'm gonna play a YouTube video or something. We get connected. So anybody know why playing a YouTube video would make it go a little bit crazier than if it's just sitting there? Because go ahead.
You gotta transmit packets from the hotspot to the
Yeah,
PC.
you're using bandwidth. When you're watching video, you've got audio and video, and so a lot's going on there. So I just hit a link for a video. I don't know if you guys can, oh, you can't see that part, sorry. And of course what I clicked on was an ad link, so it just took me to another website. Let me try again. Oh, SNL, that should be good. Come on. So, up to 5 bars, it's not going to beep, all right? But it's got activity. We're at 1 solid bar. We're definitely moving some bandwidth around, right? So that's a hot spot. Let's see about the cell phone. Mine's in use. Who's got a cell phone? Yeah, go ahead and bring up website. Bring up YouTube and just play any video. Let me get this reset. Okay. It's very touchy. So let's see. So we think a cell phone signal would be stronger or weaker than a hotspot.
I would say it's probably gonna be a bit weaker because it's gonna be lower frequency.
Okay. And they're both using cell phone technology, right? A hotspot connects to a cellular signal. Is it as strong as one of these towers that are around here? Probably not, right? It's just one little device. connecting to one of those big towers. But it's not that big tower putting out that big signal. That's not what my computer's connecting to. My computer's just connecting to that device, right? So, can you connect to that?
I can, but I'm not sure YouTube will play. That's the Wi-Fi
How
doesn't
about
quite
like
work on my
CNN
phone.
or MSN maybe that has a news video?
Okay, I'm connected and it's playing. Yeah, we go. Normally it doesn't.
Computers work?
Sure, we can try.
I mean, I'm connected over here.
Are you?
Just wanna.
Yeah, try and pull up like an MSN or something. And you're connected to the like 2.5 or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
It's
I think they only have 2.4 here.
Yeah.
Is it?
They only have.
So that's gonna be like at the lower end of the spectrum. I mean, that's not even
Yeah,
moving
right.
sitting right next to it,
But
right?
lower bandwidth,
I'm on MSN.
greater range,
Specifically,
is 2.4.
I'm gonna turn it up a little bit so we can maybe see some activity around here. Maybe after 2 hours.
Like recovery.
It's also slow.
Is it? It's slow Wi-Fi too. Good example, right? Good
Yeah.
example. So anyway, but you get the gist of it, right? So the higher the radio frequency is, the crazier this thing is gonna go. Look, I just come back over here and it starts going a little bit crazier. Well, it did for a second. I'm gonna turn this hotspot back on and see if we can get it to act up again. So I just turned it on, it's going through its little warm up. Now we're getting a little bit of activity because it's gonna start connecting to the service provider. When the lights start blinking, yeah, there it goes. See, my Wi-Fi light just turned red. A lot going on, now it's connected. Yeah, so what would I possibly want to use this at a client's office for? Any ideas? Maybe to find a rogue network device that shouldn't be there. Maybe because my clients don't even know where their Wi-Fi router is located. It happens, believe me. You go searching quite often for network equipment. Clients aren't unaware of or don't have any idea what you're talking about. Like, what does a Wi-Fi router look like, right? So this comes in handy for something like that. Not a must-have for what I do, but it's kind of cool. I've been in here doing it for 25 years. I should have one by now, right? There had to be some time in 25 years that it was absolutely necessary, I'm sure. Okay, so we've also got, has anybody used a multimeter before? Yeah? Okay. We got a multimeter and that measures a couple of different things. Voltage, resistance, and it will measure high voltage, 120 or 240. Then I've also got like, you feeling frisky? Who's feeling frisky? Who wants to stick some stuff in the electrical sockets? Nobody? Are you kidding me? You wanna try? Come on. Let's find a empty outlet and just poke these little metal sticks right in there.
There's some back here.
Yeah, there's some behind the wall.
Okay. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you, but make sure you're only doing this with one hand, okay? Hold that in that hand, that in that hand, just go ahead and stick one in each of those.
Make sure you cross your fingers.
And turn, yeah. Look at that. So now it's gonna tell us, are we working with a 120 or a 240?
Yeah.
That doesn't, we don't use that very often, but it's a handy tool to have just in case you need it. So it also lets you know there is electricity coming out of that outlet, yeah.
Is that tool more useful overseas where sometimes electrical frequencies, AC frequencies are different?
Yeah, I use it for a quick way to find out if the outlet's on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
works.
what I use it for. What, this is scary, what? Brave girl. So, another tool that I use, and some of the things I do for some clients is a little beyond IT into the electrical side because of my background in the military. So I also have a continuity tester. This just lets you know if two wires end up connecting to each other. So you can put one in this outlet here and the other in that outlet over there and see if that is on the same circuit. And that comes in handy for using power line Ethernet. Have you all heard of power line Ethernet? So if you don't have in-wall wiring for Ethernet.
I use it actually.
Do you? It's pretty cool. You don't have in-wall Ethernet. You don't have an Ethernet port to plug in, and your Wi-Fi signal is not that strong. You can buy a power line device that plugs into an outlet. You plug another one into the outlet by the router, and Ethernet will go through your power. It's pretty cool. Now you have Ethernet where you didn't before. It comes in handy a lot, especially in buildings like that have, you know, walls made out of brick or stuff that you just can't get through, like drywall. So I use that one frequently. Then the good old box of random screws, right, for hardware repairs. I always have a few extras when I put stuff back together. Not always, sometimes, you know. But everything still works when I get it back together. So those screws really didn't matter in the first place, did they? But having just a box of extra screws never fails. I always drop one, and the older I get, I mean, 25 years I've been doing this, it's harder to find them. A magnetizer, so you never drop another screw again. You can magnetize any screwdriver, and then your screws will stay on there. So that's a cool thing to have. It comes in handy. And then if you don't have a magnetizer, you're gonna wanna have a magnet. So when you do drop stuff, you'll be able to retrieve it from behind whatever's skinnier than your hand that you can't get to. So those are just some of the tools of the trade that I have used over the years. Oh, and always wire ties. Always have wire ties with me because I can't stand a cable mess like that. I wouldn't be able to leave that at my client's office. Clean up, make it work nice. You know? That's how they'll ask you back. Oh, and this is an old term. A BFH, a big friggin' hammer, just in case the computer equipment does not cooperate. You see how worn out that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's just for smashing hard drives, which is a bonus of, you know, getting rid of my client's old equipment is I get to smash hard drives. So, any questions about any of the tools? Yeah.
You showed your skills up there, but is there one skill that you just have to have, like your number one skill?
Communication is key. I have been told so many times that I am really good at being able to talk to the end user and not make them feel stupid for not knowing what they did or what they don't know. A lot of IT people have a problem communicating to end users, you know, and they have a little bit of a, I don't know, I'm better than you because I can fix what you use to work, right? A lot of people have that problem, so they maybe not consciously do that, but that skill is going to be very important. It will differentiate you from everybody else, for sure. Any other questions?
Out of all your, you said you have like over 50 certifications.
Yeah.
Which one, like say, is like the one that, you know,
Makes me the most money?
or like the one that, like people just starting should get immediately, other than
A plus certification. That is the, like I said, the basic industry standard. I know IT jargon. I know the basics. I know standards. I know, you know, just that's a good starting point, a really good starting point. But then from there, be diverse. Because the more skills I have, the more I can put on those companies, you know, partner profiles, the more business is gonna come my way. You know, I may not be an expert in everything, but again, that's where being resourceful comes in. I'm always gonna be able to get somebody to help me if I run into, you know, a situation where I don't know enough. But it doesn't happen very often. No, just kidding. So, any other questions? Those are good questions, thank you. Okay, so let's see, where were we? Okay, on to encryption. We're good on time, right?
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah.
So, we're gonna do a couple activities. You could have them pass that out. About encryption and why it's important and kind of how it works. The first one is I'm gonna make you decoders. We're gonna decode some encryption. And this one, while it might be simple, it's gonna give you a basic understanding of how encryption works.
I got some fruit snacks on the line for first fruits together spring.
Tyler, remind you of cybersecurity class?
Quite a bit actually.
We were just given, the things that were like, just decode this. Fire expert.
Okay. So.
Excellent.
Backwards. Okay, so this is the Pigpen cipher. Okay, and the way this works is there's 2 steps to decoding every component. So look at the first symbol on page 1. And you're gonna look at the box part of the symbol, okay? So the lines that form part of a box. And where can you find that at on this? Very good. Okay, so now there's 2 letters there though, so something else has to identify which letter it is of those 2. So the dot means it's the second letter. That's all I'm gonna give you. Solve the first one.
Dun, 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 dun.
Name.
What?
Name.
Okay.
You want us to keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, the whole thing, that whole first line. There's a prize, you see that? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. What are you doing? Are you using help?
Name your favorite color.
Does anybody need help? Does anybody not understand that little?
Alright, so I've got one here, says name your favorite color.
There you go, you got it.
Oh, I thought we were just keep going.
Did you get it too?
Yeah, I even said it out loud. Like,
Wait, what? You got the whole line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, what is this?
And each one that you do is gonna get a little bit easier because you're gonna start memorizing some of the different characters. What is it?
Name your favorite color.
So that's a basic encryption, right? 2 components. It takes 2 steps to decode every bit of the message. Anybody having problems with it? Anybody need some help? You guys got it? Looks like you guys got it. You
what is the
focus.
cutest animal?
That's right. We have a winner for number 2. All right,
Who got number 2?
Tyler.
Can we skip it?
Look, you guys are starting to look a little competitive. Yeah, well, we know somebody's working on number 3. You might as well go ahead and skip forward to number 3 if you want to try and win one. That's awesome. Nobody needs help.
Describe your perfect day.
Wow, Tyler's knocking them out left and right. All right, so because
think
of
I'm
that,
good.
Tyler,
Sugar.
because of that, Tyler, you have to complete 2 now before you can raise your hand again. Okay?
Okay, sure.
It's so frustrating. I'm 1 word behind it every time.
Well, this will give you a chance to catch up and get one. Maybe. I don't know. He's pretty intense over there.
is the best vacation spot?
All right. On to the next one. What do you have, guys?
I got one over here.
All right. What is it? Go ahead.
Which TV show is your favorite?
Awesome. Welcome to the world of decoding, everyone. You can now tell everybody that you have decoded an encrypted message. Pretty cool, huh?
I loved it better when computers did that.
Psyching myself out.
So, still on encryption, I'm going to hand out some laptops. When you're done doing the code that you're working on, go ahead and open up the laptop and turn it on.
Is it like encrypted using BitLocker?
We're going to find out.
Okay.
The scenario is that your client calls you and they have forgotten their password. And they have business critical data on this device that if you do not help them retrieve it, their business will fail.
Good analytics side, so we go garbage package.
They don't have a cloud backup. We gotta figure out how to get into that computer. So, is there BitLocker on there? Can we guess the password? There's another account on some of them. Can we try and log into the other account?
Is this like an actual encryption? Like this thing is like
Yeah, the big inside. Yeah, inside.
or what?
You will have.
Yeah, it's not actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is really.
Most of the time, it's an AES.
Yeah. Just to give you a basic idea of the phone, you can build on the big side and make it more cryptic. So you guys, if you want to team up so that, you know, you're not just sitting there, you can.
Yeah, you guys can partner up and try and see if you
Yeah.
can break into the computer.
So try and guess the password. Try and, if you can't guess the password and you want to give up, let me know and I'll move you on to the next step.
So you guys, your goal is you're trying to,
Yeah. Get the computer turned on and get a.
yeah, you're trying to guess the
I
password.
don't think WinLogon uses SQL.
I
I don't think WinLogon uses SQL, but who knows? Microsoft is dumb enough to do something like that.
He asked me when is my birthday.
Do you want to try?
Was this question?
Hold on.
That's, I'm gonna give you a hint. That is a good question. Not specifically, but those kind of questions might be helpful.
It goes from that BitLocker. Boot into a Linux site and take the files off.
How are we gonna know if it has BitLocker where we're at right now? Can we figure that out?
Let's just try to figure it out. Type in bunch, back in.
And why doesn't our user remember their password? And why haven't we recommended a password management software for them so they don't have to remember their password?
I mean, I don't think password management software works with Windows login, but that's.
Not with Windows logins, but if they had the app on their phone, like I use
Reset password.
LastPass. And there's an app for the phone and then there's the browser extension.
Okay,
So
yeah. Use
if
a
I'm at a
password.
client's office, I don't
That's
even have
right,
a
Windows
laptop.
says password reset disk. Use it.
Password reset.
Good try though, right?
Okay.
Keep trying. What else you got?
Where was the name of the city they were born?
My client is that stupid, they don't even remember what they put in for their security questions, right? They don't know. How can you not know? You just typed it, we just set this computer up for you last week, right? How can you not know what you put in for your security questions?
No enter.
What else you got? What else?
Well, you got two users.
Yeah, try the other user.
The other user has the same issue.
Anybody want to give up yet on that? You want to go to the next step? So I'm telling you what, we're getting in one of these laptops today. We're gonna hack into a laptop. One of these laptops.
Come here, Nora. We don't know what to do.
Yes. Oh my God.
I once connected to a random phone that we had.
What's a good pet name?
Get found. Find out
Oh, that's yours.
taking a walk around.
I thought it was that password reset disk.
Yeah.
They gave me a special option.
Do we have to go on?
Yeah.
I just followed YouTube tutorial and it ended up working. But we found out we wasn't give it back.
sticks.
No,
But it
create a password
was
reset disk, because it's a local method of getting it.
Well, before I let you take the next step, I need everybody to raise your right hand and say, I promise
I promise.
to use my powers only for good. Okay, because this, I'm gonna show you how you can hack into a computer. If it doesn't have BitLocker. If it has BitLocker, you're not getting in. Whether you're IT, Microsoft, I don't care who you are, if it's BitLocker, you're not getting in. Alright, so we're gonna boot these devices.
That's the secret.
This is a Windows, a USB device with a bootable version of Windows on it. So
Oh.
we're gonna put
Is
the,
it Windows to go or is it?
no, it's the, like, full blown, I could run my computer.
Okay.
So we're gonna put the, USB drive in, and then you're gonna hold down the shift key, and you're gonna reboot the computer while you continue to hold down the shift key.
Oh, that's right, in order to get to Windows UEFI selector, that's right.
Try this one. I'm not 100% sure that Windows is on that one, but give it a try. So,
That's a U.
hold down the
that's a
shift
HTTP.
key while you select to restart the
Yeah,
computer.
in order to get to the,
Yeah.
to their
And
built-in
then
boot
you should
menu.
get a alternate boot menu that gives you some additional recovery options.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
this one has an update,
Wow.
let's get that.
So, yeah, go from here.
There's an F2.
No, if you're getting into Windows is built in, right here.
Sorry, I can only find the board laptop to bring this over here.
Then the password would be.
Well, you're in what we're gonna call it.
Let's go boot right into it. You could do it through the BIOS too.
Security things turned on.
You don't need to.
Just almost like Like, do you have the ability to turn off Windows boot?
Yeah.
Can I click next? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck trying to do that with Windows encryption Linux. It's not gonna work out. It's under the screen, every time you try to enter a password, it's gonna switch back.
No, like the power.
All that is, it is the lock way.
See what the options are. Try it out.
We can
At this point, unless you reinstall Windows.
Or, you know, mounting these as 3D, just take the files off, whatever.
Where you guys at?
Try to reboot to this thing, but
So what, when you held down the shift key and rebooted, what options did you have that popped up over
You
there?
got Windows recovery.
Okay. Do you wanna recover Windows? There were no.
Oh, no, it's password recovery, not Windows recovery.
Do you have an option, like advanced options?
Oh, yeah,
or
advanced.
change anything or, okay. Where are you at?
I'm doing
Come on. There it is. Troubleshoot. Advanced options.
I wonder if the BIOS.
Start there, we don't have to start that. We want to make changes.
I think it's the BIOS.
It's not system restore. It's not
Where you
command
guys
process
at?
that doesn't have a
Have you made it out? Okay, so, let's try and troubleshoot and see where we get. Okay, we don't wanna reset, cause then our
Straight
client
into the
is
firmware.
in big trouble, right? So, let's see what's in advanced options.
We can change the boot drive.
Okay,
We can boot.
so, we're not having a problem starting up. It's starting up fine, we just can't get logged in, right? So that's not gonna be one that we wanna use, right? And this is analytical thinking. We're eliminating one thing at a time to get to the root of the problem. A lot of IT's, problems can be solved like this. So let's try and see what's in startup settings. Just go in there and play around and see if you can come
Disable
across
that.
anything.
Is this, how big? Oh, okay.
This is a lot of.
Disable that.
A lot longer than this.
And that, that. So we're gonna force the boot. We're gonna force the boot into the disk.
Alright, I'm gonna give you a little clue, alright?
We already went to if I change the boot order, forcing that, yeah.
Say it again.
So you have to go into the UEFI firmware and change the boot order and force it to use the USB disk.
There you go. Go in and change the UEFI boot order to make it boot from that external
You can
disk.
see it's reading off the
Yeah,
disk.
watch and you'll see
Yeah,
it will
it's
read on
reading.
that. Good job. Very good job.
I built the
Literally
PC.
there. How dare you?
You have a newer BIOS version.
You guys need,
Here it goes.
My BIOS was the
And then you just log in and mount the partition.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hold on, shift F10. Wait. Is it? What's the?
Oh, okay, so this is an important.
There's a command prompt option. I forgot
Okay,
what
you want
it
to
is.
get to a command prompt. You are on the right track. Go, go,
I
go.
forgot what is
Push
it?
it next.
It's
all right. You're doing great.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay, so give everybody else a clue on where you're at. Tell them what to do.
So you have to go to, you have to click past next, go
Did
to.
you guys get to the UFI? That was.
I think it's a startup
back
there or
to,
something.
Hold on the shift key and
This
remove.
part,
It's gonna bring up that
this
menu
part,
again. You wanna go
Microsoft,
back
this
into
part.
advanced
This
options.
is the tool.
And that UEFI setting was on the right. We're looking at the change startup or repair startup. It's on that screen on the right hand side.
See if it's there. Hold on. I'm using this part.
Alright, I'm gonna freeze you for 1 second while I get them to where we're at. So what are you doing now?
I'm in disk part. I'm trying to mount the disk if it's not on.
What drive letter are you on?
We're on X. So C,
Oh.
C does not exist. Oh, there it is.
C's there?
C is there, and then you got the files from here.
Okay, so show me the files then. Like go into the users folder.
No, this is this.
Yeah.
This is this disk.
We're on, did you say we're on X or C?
So it started at X. This is the sources folder. I'm assuming of the installment. You got boot installed out Wim, I think.
So go back to C
Let's see.
and then do directory.
Yeah,
This is
I
the
know.
whole directory.
Yeah,
Do you
use
see a
DR.
Windows folder there?
Hold on. CD. No, because Windows is not case sensitive.
Okay, alright, so you're getting close.
I'm reinstalling Windows, and
Okay, so
I go to, I get it.
Yeah, go ahead.
doesn't have a
Like
flag.
the
It's
plus
not
button.
I don't actually mess up anything.
This
And
part.
then stop right there for a second. Let me get these guys caught up a little bit
List.
where you're at.
List
Okay.
disk. Disk 0.
Alright, so put that in.
You can make your own
Hold down
copy.
your shift key.
Come on.
Reboot the
List
computer.
partition.
Actually,
No
I did
disk
do that.
selected.
I thought it was easier for me to just go to the BIOS and just change the boot drive manually.
We didn't disable the
I don't
disk.
know what
We
it's
Make
doing.
my own password.
Zeros up.
We still don't know if these drives are bitlocked, right?
This volume.
Secure boot is turned off? Okay, so that maybe cause you a problem in a minute. But we're gonna find out.
Did they disable secure?
It may, it may not.
Well,
Let's see. Further ahead than
Give
that.
you.
It's a race to
Is
finish.
so this is.
Do I need that to continue? Or-
Are you at a command prompt? After you go to troubleshoot, when you go to command prompt.
I'll need the files on there.
Next colon.
Yeah, cause it's gonna be on, yeah, you're gonna change it to the.
Directory, so.
Yeah, once you can get, and it doesn't have to be the C drive. It may not be loading the drives in the order that you think. If it's the D drive or the E drive, when you see that Windows folder
I'm
in
gonna do
there.
I know that that's in a disk, however, disk part
Are you
lists
guys
disks.
making any progress over here?
Only has one disk, and it's disk 0.
Okay, okay.
That is, we did not try.
So let's, what are you seeing in here? You seeing any settings that, like boot manager settings that might allow you to boot from the USB device?
Crap. This is CMD.
It is going to let us trick the computer so that we can make it think that we're on its hard drive, internal hard drive. We're gonna rename a file to an actual hard drive.
There's a
That
BitLocker
will allow us to
recovery.
get administrative access when we reboot, so we
There's
can change the unknown password or whatever.
PSD files.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm graphic design, so none of that made a lot of sense. But
We're gonna break into the
I'm gonna
computer.
plug this.
Yeah. So, but this is what I have to do
That's
this.
what I
Like if
thought.
my client says, I don't know my password, I gotta get in there. I gotta get that data back.
how about
What?
how about you just set the password?
Right. Or even better, why didn't I have his stuff backed up so that we don't have to be doing this?
Yeah.
Why didn't I have his stuff up on the cloud so we can say, you know what, don't worry about that. Let me just reinstall Windows.
BitLocker.
All right, you're done. You can give him the drive.
Good job, Anna. You got it. There we go.
Where are you guys at?
We're still stuck in C&D. This part is not being helpful.
Okay, so are you actually getting, did you actually disable the internal hard drive when you made it allowed to do from this because of a security setting or something? Like if there's a security setting that says, hey, if you disable that internal hard drive, you're not gonna put a flash drive in and get to it.
I thought that only disabled in the boot order. This UEFI might be a little bit different.
This is like the last.
Just enter the password and exit.
Not interested at all.
Let's go
No.
back to the
Yeah, well, that's cool, probably because you don't know like DOS and biases and stuff, right? That's not what you do. I understand that, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. That just, the bigger point than all of that is that I didn't do a good job. If this is what I have to go through to get into my client's computer, I should have made sure they're using a password manager. I should have made sure their data was being backed up. We should not be having this critical moment right here. And it's my fault because she's relying on me for stuff like this not to happen. So.
No.
Good try though. Grab some candy.
Disk part might not be able to interact with a BitLocker encrypted disk.
You know, you did really great getting up to that point, but this part isn't gonna help you further.
Did you take the last?
It needs a BitLocker.
We need, it does, it's telling you that?
Well,
You gotta get to that screen that says BitLocker on it. Otherwise, we're trying to get to that Windows folder. When you get in that Windows folder,
No, they're not. They're the worst.
No.
The pink one is worse.
No.
Yes.
Here, you can have my
Try changing it.
Oh, here it is.
My least favorite.
This UEFI.
I don't like it.
Alright.
You're in the next one. Try
So, security BIOS, we set a password for the BIOS, you can't change that.
So try me.
It's really all that is for.
Okay, so now we've done something with the security that, if we've disabled that internal hard drive, it's not gonna let us see it
Features.
while we boot from that. So maybe go back to the BIOS and see if there's something else that comes.
Oh, I found the BitLocker recovery key though.
Did it prompt you to put it in the BitLocker recovery key?
I found it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yes.
Good, hey, you never know though, it could have been that one, right? So my whole point in this is,
It's been recording
there
the
should
whole
not
time.
be crisis moments like this for my clients. I have not served them well if this is what we're going through to get their data. Their data should be backed up on the cloud. They should have access to a password manager so they're not losing their passwords. Because, you know, I'm gonna be encouraging them to set hard passwords that are not easy to remember. So you wanna use a password manager. You don't wanna have to remember your password, especially the older that you get, right? And if you're, you know, being responsible with them and changing them all the time, or they are requiring you to change them all the time, a password manager is a really good tool to have. So, any questions about all that stuff?
Would you say it's useful to change the password frequently?
I mean, anything that has to do with banking and stuff like that, I would. I mean, if the bank doesn't prompt you to change it every 90 days, I would at least enable multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication, then you don't have to worry about changing them as often because you gotta have something that you know and something that you have ready to device. If you have the ability to turn on multi-factor for any account, I would do it. Hey, are you guys familiar with the site iBeenPwned?
Yes.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah? You know in there? Okay. Good. That's a resource I use for my clients all the time. But I mean, Google and Apple both now will pop up and tell you if your password's been compromised in a breach too. I don't know if Android has a similar thing or not, but any questions, any comments? Yeah.
How do we do it?
How do you do it? I like that. That's awesome. So let's see if we can break into this together. I'm gonna come sit between you guys. We're just gonna start over real quick here. And what we're doing is eliminating one thing at a time. Our first goal is find out if BitLocker's on here. BitLocker's on here, we're done. if we are able to get booted from this drive and then change to the internal drive, we've made great progress. 'Cause once I get to that internal drive, you guys are gonna be amazed at what happens. Well, maybe not amazed, but it's pretty cool. We might be tasking this one little thing. Okay, so hold on the shift key. And actually, I happen to know that this is the one that we're going to be looking for. We're going to use, we're going to go troubleshoot. Advanced options. Use E5 firmware settings. We're going to go, and I know that's where you guys just were. I just
Forgot how to do this nonsense.
I get so excited every time I do it. I've actually had to do this for clients. Now I know better. It's my fault. So,
Just the installer.
secure
There's
boot.
nothing here that can help.
If that is enabled and then we disable it, and it is enabled, so secure boot is enabled. So what should happen is when we disable this, we have absolutely no way to get to that internal drive. Like this, oh, see, and look, there's even a password on there. So since we're done, we can go no further. Not only is BitLocker probably turned on, but we've also got a bias admin password set. We're not getting past that. You can't even change the settings. Some computers have this, some computers don't. Some computers let you disable secure boot, and then what happens is, then you can't get to that drive anymore. And that's usually because BitLocker is on. So if you try and disable any of those security measures that have to do with encryption, you're not getting to that drive. These are all the different ways that you can try to get to that drive or try to find out if BitLocker's on. And that's a weird scenario because, I mean, once you've forgotten the password, that's the only thing that matters. I should know if my client's BitLocker's turned on, right? I should probably turn it on for them, right? We need to get to the Windows directory.
Okay.
Do you guys still want to play around? You're not getting in, I'm telling you. And if you do, right?
Secure boot name.
I'm gonna play that next video for you guys so you don't miss out on it.
You're doing a great job.
One of these computers, the password is password.
That would have been helpful to know. We should.
I was gonna try Bluetooth.
I was like, I think this is.
Tracy, password.
What is a VPN? What does the VPN do?
Isn't it
It
like
encrypts the
scrambled
connection,
eyes?
sends it to an external server as a proxy.
Encryption. It creates a tunnel between one device and another. So everything that goes between those two devices is encrypted, just like what BitLocker is.
I would recommend Tor instead.
You guys get a lot of junk email in your, probably not in your school accounts, but personal accounts.
Not too much on the road.
I got one good piece of advice about that. Have an account that you use to sign up for online stuff. Like every site. Wow, that's a good message. Have one that you don't use to communicate for that purpose alone. And then you don't have to see all that. But if you ever need to reset your password, you still have to. You got it?
Okay. I thought I put that in earlier and it didn't work.
You would be surprised at how many people I run into that still use passwords.
Two East Linux. Can't go back to Linux. Linux is really simple. Go to the memory, type your setup with your disk, email it to a memory. It's you just type quick setup mounts dev whatever to dev mapper. It makes logical sense. Whereas one is got like
We needed. All we needed was about 5 more minutes. So,
that would solve.
So when a client gets upset, and there are people that get upset, believe me, all the time. They're already angry when they call you because their stuff's not working. So from the get-go, you got somebody that's not in a good mood on the phone almost every time I answer the phone, right? I must be a glutton for punishment. But you can't take it personally, okay? You can't take it personally. You just do the best job. Now, I didn't do the best job for my clients in this situation. We should not be struggling this hard to get into their computer to get their data back. So, any final questions, comments? I put a business card on everybody's desk. I think you guys want to connect on LinkedIn, start building your technology connections. Yeah.
What did you say was on the Windows?
A copy of Windows, a bootable copy of Windows, which you can go to Microsoft and it'll walk you through the steps on how to create a bootable USB drive with Windows on it.
Just use the media creation tool.
Yeah, it's a must-have for technicians. Must have. Yeah, because you get sometimes, even though there's the ability with Windows 10, you can recover a lot easier than with older versions. You can still get stuck in a boot loop and having this, scoot from that, do whatever you need. Unless there's a BitLocker. But Microsoft has also started letting you put your BitLocker key connected to your Microsoft account. So they're trying to make it really hard for you to lose your BitLocker key. But if you lose that, you're not getting back into it. All right. Well, thank you guys for letting me come and meet with you today.